Bobby. And this is Jennifer. And we're from Cleveland, Ohio. And you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening and welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here. Wonderful time planned for you this evening. If you want to jump in, phone call 216-777-2120. Again, 216-777-2120. That puts you in contact with phone screener John in Upper Michigan. You play through him, you get to me, and I put you on the air. Very simple. In lieu of trying to get through the goalie, you can also send me an email, and that's how you do this.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to greg@bbqcentralshow.com or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. It is the third Tuesday of the month of August, if you can believe it. And the third Tuesday of the month brings a regular visit from BBQ Hall of Fame'er, prolific cookbook author, TV show host, cooking school instructor, and friend of this show. You know him, you love him, Stephen Raichlen will be joining us. Also on the third Tuesday of the month in the first hour, we revisit with one of the co-founders of the Steak Cooking Association, the Steak Cook-Off Association. In recent weeks, we have found the competitive steak cooking industry, I think we can classify it as an industry at this point, is growing in leaps and bounds. Sanctioning bodies are now developing other than SCA. People talking about the next great steak cooking opportunity. It is very hot, very popular, very hot and fast. I'm talking about a conversation with none other than Brett Gallaway. Brett joins me at 9:35. And then we'll move into the second hour. And I will be joined by a first-timer of this show. She is new in her position to the National Barbecue and Grilling Associations as the executive director. She's also the creator of bushcooking.com. A lot of you might have heard of her through the venue of bushcooking.com, and then as you start to join associations, organizations, and so forth, might have also been introduced to her through affiliations with NBBQA. But as I had mentioned, newly, I don't know if it's voted on or appointed or hired. We'll talk to her about that. First timer to the show, Saffron Hodgson, will be joining me in the second hour. And then we will wrap it up with a lot of second hour first-time guests, first hour long-time guests of this show, breaking it up into both segments. If I had a third hour, we'd go medium recurring guests. But this is also a first-timer, and perhaps more than this year. Now, whether it's the truth or not, and depending on who I have on to talk about it, we might get varying viewpoints and opinions. I know Randall Bowman was on the show a 3 weeks ago or so. We were talking about the National Grilling and the National Grilling Society rollout, but we were also talking about where the state of competition barbecue is, and he maintained that there is growth But I think a lot of that has to do with the popularity of the competition barbecue is seeing overseas and helping usurp or replace some of those lost events that you've seen here domestically. So an overall gain. But what does it look like here domestically? I mean, everybody knows me. If you're a fan of this show, you know, hey, I'm myopic USA guy, and that's it. I don't have any idea what's happening outside. I barely have an idea of what's happening in the country. But if it's outside the country, I have no idea what's happening. So while there may be growing popularity outside of the borders, people have been noticing. I've been getting emails, especially from this guest, saying, hey, I think I've noticed a downturn, some attrition in barbecue competitions. They've been getting lost. They aren't really growing domestically. And I've had that conversation off air with some other more prominent live fire barbecue and grilling folks. But this guy wanted to come on and talk about it. The attrition of barbecue competition. He is a barbecue event organizer, so he does have expertise to talk on that as well. First timer to the show, Carl McBee, also a Buckeye. And his website, by the way, if you want to check him out in advance, chillicoffeebbq.net. chillicoffeebbq.net. So that's how your show's setting up this evening. Again, your phone calls and emails, welcome 216-777-2120. Or email Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Stephen Raichlen, Brett Gallaway in the first hour, Saffron Hodgson, and Carl McBee in the second hour. A lot of feedback last week from my first hour guest, Sam the cooking guy, Sam Zion. Like this email from Dan H. Dear Greg, you need Sam on once a month. That dude is hilarious. He is blunt, and we love it. The banter back and forth between you guys is priceless. You need to make him a regular on this show. Well, Dan H., thank you for your feedback. Appreciate that. I know you're listening because I've inspired you to give me feedback, which I appreciate. I don't disagree. I think Sam is a great guest. Sam's also a very busy guy. I think he's what you would call a regional celebrity. More celebrity to me than maybe to you because you don't know him. He's on my show. I know what he's accomplished. San Diego area, definitely celebrity out there. But I would say regionally famous. He's been doing some big national infomercials that you may or may not have seen. Some with an air fryer, some with smokeless grill from Phillips, I think it was. I forget who the air fryer is now, or maybe that's about ready to roll out. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything at all about that. Maybe it's not out yet. I don't know. But very successful, self-made success, which I certainly appreciate. It makes time to come on the show when he can, and I'm always happy to have him. So, Dan, appreciate you. And I got 30 or 40 emails just like that. I also got one saying that, Sam shouldn't poo-poo you so much on your steak testing results, which will conclude next week as we reconvene the Embedded Correspondence segment and go over our last round of tests. Also, the hot dog reaction continues to come in hot and heavy, low a month ago, believe it or not. Email in from Zach in North Carolina over the past week. Okay, I'm late to the party, but I'm going to weigh in. What sort of self-respecting barbecue and grilling person turns up their nose at hot dogs? The hot dog is the quintessential American summer cuisine, and dare I say, they are offered in just as many, if not more places in boiled or steamed form than they are grilled. Bolstering my position. Your one guy says that hot dogs have no flavor. What? And boy, they better not touch that Traeger of his. Otherwise, those grill grates may be ruined forever. The other, Raichlen, he'll be on in just a few minutes. Such an elitist that I'm surprised he didn't suggest that a hot dog can only be enjoyed with ground rhino horn paste that must be obtained in a special ceremony in India. Yes, I myself prefer a grilled all-beef hot dog, but if I don't feel like lighting up a grill just to make a hot dog, that sucker is going in water or the microwave. And then it's going to get some ketchup. For those who poo-poo on a friggin' hot dog, I say poo-poo on them. Zach from North Carolina. coming in strong. Thank you, Zach. Bolstering both my position, also Steve Ray, who did, I believe, say first that he enjoys a good microwaved hot dog as well. David Huff, I think, like both. I mean, we all love grilled hot dogs, no doubt. But we were not averse to having boiled and or microwave hot dogs. I'll steer clear of the microwave hot dog. I can always seem to find time to boil the water. If I'm going to snob out, I'll probably say in a pinch, or if I have to choose between the two, I'm not going to go ahead and microwave it. I'm definitely going to boil it if I want it. I like it. Sam, the cooking guy, said he partially boils his schweens before he then slaps them on a grill or a skillet or a flat top to crisp it up. That's your Centralite reaction over the past week. Thanks for joining in, everybody. Let me quickly talk to you about the Barbecue Guru. You know, they've always believed outdoor cooking should be easy and fun, and it can be, especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. The Monolith, the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control, greater freedom with automatic temperature control. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature and let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. So here's what you do. If you have any questions, first, hit the website, bbqguru.com. Then give them a phone call, 800-288-GURU. Ask them all your questions. They'll make sure they answer everything so you get everything you need and it's correct when that box hits your doorstep. No buyer's remorse here. Ask the right questions. They will steer you in the right direction. No upsells, no nothing. Just getting you the tools you need to be a better outdoor barbecue and grilling cook. Now, if you have a Barbecue Guru temperature controller already and you're in line to get a new Monolith Guru with the fan built in, or the Monolith Barbecue, the ceramic cooker, if you have the controller, you just have to wire it to the fan and you're all set. You don't have to buy an additional controller. Now, if you want to upgrade tech, maybe yours is a little bit older, that's up to you. But it's not a requirement. If you have a controller, hook it up to the Monolith and you're off and running. Remember, the fan is built into the cooker, first ever of its kind. Plus all the accessories and the nest and the side tables. You got to check it out if you're in the market for a ceramic cooker. bbqguru.com or 800-288-GURU. Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. And we are back with Stephen Raichlen. Stick around, be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
That's the wrong button. All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, maker of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauce, grilling oils. All the Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood. Visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always, always, always trust your butcher. All right, my first guest, seen the third Tuesday of each month right here on this show, a 2015 BBQ Hall of Fame inductee, a TV show host, a barbecue cooking class instructor, a multiple-time author. Let's go ahead and welcome back, friend of this show, creator of the Barbecue Bible and that website, barbecuebible.com. I'm, of course, talking about Stephen Raichlen, who is not there. All right. Stephen, hello. Interesting. Well, of course, the beauty of this whole situation is extended voice check with Stephen Raichlen last night. Just to avoid this particular scenario. And guess what? Didn't work out, everybody. All right. Let's try it one more time. See what happens. See, it says it's connecting, but I don't think it's really connecting. Coming up at 9:35, Brett Gallaway. Okay, well, now check me out. I'm not going to get all craziness on this, all right? John, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, let's rattle Steven on the cell phone and see what happens.
All right, I'm going in.
All right, he's going. It's John's catch line, by the way, if you follow him on Instagram. If you're not following John Solberg on Instagram, the creator of the producer of the best moments of the BBQ Central show in 10 minutes or less, worth a follow, not only for the scenery, okay, because wherever he's cooking at, location remains double super secret. It's a majestic landscape rolling down to, I guess, what's maybe a lake or a pond. He's got a number of cookers. He's got that multiple cooker syndrome. But John's unique in the fact that he likes to buy cookers that are maybe, I want to say, antique or collectible, but they need some love. That seems to be his niche. He goes in, finds something that I think he believes he can rehab, probably does a lot of research on Craigslist and see what's available. So, all right, well, I can put in this kind of time or that kind of time. Oh. All right. Left that open. See if this works. Steven.
Hey, how are you?
All right. I had my producer trying to call you on the cell phone, so just go ahead and not worry about it.
I know you like the books in the background, so
yes.
Let's see. This is my office up north.
Library North.
Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard. All right.
Martha's.
You're a huge believer in eating seasonally. So, like, what's fresh and happening up in Martha's Vineyard right now that we would find on your dinner table?
Oh, well, first of all, harpoon swordfish. So we get great swordfish up here any time of the year. But right now on George's Bank, you've got fishing boats that go out. The guys stand in the pulpits in the front of the boat, and they catch the swordfish with harpoons.
Really?
So they're truly day boat. Now, typical online sword fishing, those lines can be in the water 4 or 5 days. So,
wow.
That's not ideally fresh, but the harpoon swordfish, amazing. What else? Our local clams are fabulous. Lobster, which I love to do on the grill. We've had a great run of black bass this summer. Stripers are in season. I mean, if you love fish, this is a fish lover's paradise.
What's your favorite way of preparing, or let me back that up for a second and ask it a better way. What's the best way to prep lobster before, whether you're going to steam it or put it in the oven or put it on the grill? Like, how do you prepare it once you get it live? Do you get it like that?
If you are grilling the lobster, yeah. The best way to grill it is to actually cut it in half while it's still alive. You kill it instantly. However, the halves do wriggle, so it's a little bit upsetting. You crack the claws with your knife, and you grill it cut side down to start, then turn it over, cut side up, basting with butter. Super simple. Serve it with melted butter. It's amazing. I always like to get female lobsters because the females have roe, which is lobster caviar. Boiling, that's how we get our lobster out. Grilling is how we do it at home.
Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show. Believe it or not, we're going to revisit that caviar statement here in just a second. But I don't know if you recall or not, but last time you were on toward the end of our segment, we talked a little bit about hot dogs and preparation, and I may or may not have said that I do enjoy a boiled hot dog from time to time, and you may or may not have mentioned that folks who boil hot dogs and then eat those boiled hot dogs have a special place reserved for them in something called the 10th Circle of Hell, I don't know if you recall that or not.
I must have been reading Dante at that point.
Of course.
I didn't mean to be so harsh.
No, not at all. It's been great. Now, let me regale you, if I could, with a story that happened the following week during my monthly embedded correspondence segment. My Texas correspondent took hot dog, I guess what I would call snobbery, to a whole new level. Not only will he not eat any kind of hot dog, regardless of preparation, he takes it to yet another level, that level being an outright ban of any kind of hot dog on any of his outdoor cooking vessels. Now, Stephen, to make sure I'm illustrating this point properly, when pressed, he said if kids were at your party and they were asking for hot dogs to eat, as kids would do, he said he would not accommodate their request, period. Now, I get there might be some disagreements on preparation here or there, but to not even place a schween on a cooker, is that one of the most extreme anti-hot dog campaigns going in the live fire grilling industry right now?
That is pretty extreme. I don't know that I can understand the rationale behind that. Hot dogs are extremely fat, and nothing makes them crisp, sizzling, and luscious like a quick sojourn on a hot grill. I like to split the hot dog in half so you expose even more of the surface area to the fire. Sometimes I'll hedgehog a hot dog, that is, score it in a crosshatch pattern. Under no circumstances would I ever boil a hot dog. But, hey, like my grandfather used to say to the lady who kissed the cow, it's all a matter of taste.
Do you find flavor if you were just eating a plain hot dog? I think that's what Doug's biggest issue. I mean, we maybe went a little over the top with how we were explaining it, but he says they're kind of tasteless. Do you find that hot dogs have flavor on their own?
Oh, my God, absolutely. I mean, first of all, let's remember the mixture contains sweet spices like mace, sometimes nutmeg, a ton of garlic, coriander. Let's remember that hot dogs come pre-cooked and come pre-smoked. So hot dogs are, and they're fat. They've got a lot of fat. So, I mean, and they're very salty. So hot dogs are extraordinarily flavorful.
All right, so let's keep it all on the picnic here. What's the most sacrilegious way you could prepare a hamburger? What's the worst way you've heard it as you're traveling through not only the domestically, but across the great world of ours?
Well, I think smoked. I'm a big fan of smoking just about everything, but smoked hamburgers don't cut it. They're gross. You need a high heat, either in a skillet or on a grill. You need a quick cooking time, and smoking is the opposite of both of those.
Now, we can delineate between a smoked hamburger and meatloaf, correct, or not so much?
Well, you didn't ask me about meatloaf, so we're just talking hamburgers. Meatloaf, sure, you can smoke because it's a bigger meat mass. It's often in a loaf pan. Often there's bacon involved with it. But I'm talking straight hamburgers here.
Okay, so let's play. I didn't think I was going to go into the memory game here with the BBQ Hall of Fame'er, but I don't know if it was a year or maybe even 2 years ago. To me, everything's always 2 or 3 years ago, but sometimes it's even 8 or 9. But we had a conversation where I had mentioned to you that I had never eaten caviar before. And you said, correct. All right, well, tomorrow.
I remember very vividly, and I thought if I ever get to Cleveland or next time I get to Cleveland, I have to remedy that situation.
Correct. So I went to Whole Foods. I bought the salmon caviar that you told me to get, and, I ate it, all that stuff. Now, just so you didn't think that that was a one-off event, I am here to tell you that I have eaten what falls down to me as an inordinate amount of caviar recently, and of varying varieties, like trout and catfish. There's a delicatessen on the west side of Cleveland who, if you ever make it out to Cleveland, we will be going. Perhaps that might be the first stop.
Well, I think I'm putting it on my next book tour.
All right. Well, we'll plan on that. So we'll have to go there. But the owner of that shop is a huge believer in just catching whatever is local here, and does not only stuff with the eggs of the fish that he catches. For instance, I think it was trout eggs on top of a French onion chip dip, and they made homemade chips. And you just dip that chip in on top of the caviar, and then like that sour cream. It was a taste explosion. Then, on top of that, had this homemade, real hearty rye bread that he toasted. And then he took the roe sack, had cured it, and then fried it, and then, like, microplaned it over the top of the bread. and I ate Rosac, which I've never done before either. So you're broadening my horizons even years later.
Well, this man sounds like a guy I need to know. The other thing is you ascend the ladder of caviar enlightenment. And hopefully when your show, you reel in the biggest sponsor you could ever imagine. The real caviar game is sturgeon caviar. That is Sevruga, Osetra, and Beluga. And those are so ridiculously, I mean, they're hundreds of dollars a tablespoon.
A tablespoon?
But, yeah, I mean, they're stupidly expensive.
Yes.
But imagine how delicious that salmon caviar was, and then multiply it by 1,000, and that's how delicious Osetra is. I've been a food writer for a long time, and I started writing about my first article about caviar, probably 30 years ago, back when you could afford Osetra, Sevruga, and Beluga, and it's the stuff of dreams. So when you win the lottery, invite me. We'll both eat it.
All right, Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show. BBQBible.com's website. Let's talk a little bit about the book that is in progress, I guess, which is being called The Brisket Chronicles. Obviously, brisket, very popular here. It has been over the last 4 or 5 years, especially as you look in Central Texas. Beef ribs maybe are starting to creep up in popularity or maybe be able to challenge brisket to a certain degree. But let's talk a little bit about The Brisket Chronicles and where you're at in that book process.
Well, I mean, first of all, barbecue is the first chapter of the book. Obviously, it's very important, but brisket is also responsible for pastrami. It's responsible for corned beef. Without it, there would be no Montreal smoked meat. The braised brisket with dried fruits that when I was growing up, we had at all holiday dinners. French wine braised brisket, German beer fleisch, which is brisket braised with onions and beer. Vietnamese pho, which is a noodle soup made with brisket. Italian bollito misto. 2 kinds of brisket boiled with tongue and chicken. I mean, the brisket story really goes all over the world. And that is what the Brisket Chronicles are about. That's why I'm so excited. For me, recipes, food, grilling, it's always into a window into culture. And what really turns me on are these sort of cross-cultural comparisons, how Koreans worship brisket, which is differently than how Americans worship brisket, but we are all, theists. We all worship at the altar of brisket.
Is there a time frame that you've been able to track back to when somebody had the first brisket, or was it here in the States, or was it somewhere else that was brought over here?
That's a really interesting question. And just to give you a very quick overview, the word first appears in the English language around 1450. Wow. The first recipe for brisket, which was braised, actually was stuffed with oysters and anchovies. Sounds pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
Dates from about 1785. So after right around the time of the birth of the United States. But interestingly, brisket as a barbecue phenomenon is extremely recent. You read the journals and chronicles of the colonists and America as an early nation. It's full of pork. It's full of ribs. Brisket doesn't really start appearing as a freestanding beloved food until 1910. And that's in the context of delicatessen. There were 2 delis in Texas that mentioned brisket. Barbecued brisket, really, people really haven't been eating it as a phenomenon for more than about 30 or 40 years, which is quite amazing. Now, in whole hog barbecue, which was very typical in Texas, undoubtedly people ate barbecued brisket, but it was never a separate muscle, barbecued, sold with the whole fetish of brisket that we have today. And shout out to Daniel Vaughn, the barbecue critic of Texas Monthly magazine, for that little bit of information about Texas brisket.
All right, yeah. Friend of this show, shows up once a quarter, not once a month like you, Steve. He's once a quarter, of course. Do you find, or do you think that the popularity of brisket over the last 10 or 15, is it just because people like beef? Is there also a majesty that I kind of almost talk about brisket cooking like I do when we talk about barbecue competitions and being selected to go to the Jack Daniels. There's this mystique and this ambiance and romance that goes on with that particular event. Can you make an argument that brisket kind of falls under those same guiles?
Brisket is magisterial. It's a food that we revere, and I think Aaron Franklin kind of summed it up the best. People revere it because they know how darn difficult it is to make a good one. And, you know, pork shoulder, 6 hours, ribs, 4 hours, steak, 10 minutes, brisket, you're looking at a 12-hour commitment. You know, you're either waking up very early or you're spending the night awake. It's it is sublime when you get it right. It's easy to get it wrong, but however you do it, it requires an enormous amount of work.
What kind of a release time are we looking at for Brisket Chronicles?
So Brisket Chronicles will be out on May 1st, God willing. In July, we did the photo shoot, same photo crew as does the food styling for the Project Smoke and Project Fire TV shows. I'm in the process of copy editing now, meaning the manuscript has been gone through by a copy editor, just reviewing all the changes, corrections, queries, making sure everything is consistent. That'll go for about another week or so, and then the next step will be setting it in type. And that's when it really starts to feel like a book, and then figuring out where the photos go, all those sidebars, all that fascinating information. So, writing a book is it's you think it's done when you turn in the manuscript, but there's an awful lot of work that happens after that.
Stephen, a couple minutes left, and I wanted to mention this in case people were going to be out in that general area, in the California area. You're doing I guess what it's termed a BBQ Boot Camp with is it Alisal Guest Ranch Resort?
The Guest Ranch Resort, yeah. And if you watch the Project Smoke and Project Fire TV shows, you'll recognize the Alisal. That's where we have shot the last 2 shows. They have 110 head of horses, so I ride, the horses are everywhere. It's an absolutely spectacular 10,000-acre guest ranch. And I will be, I'm not running the show here like Barbecue University at the Broadmoor, but I will be a guest instructor for one day.
All right, and then that's a place where you can stay overnight, kind of like accommodations on site and all that stuff.
Oh, it's beautiful. They have beautiful, beautiful bungalows, each one with a fireplace. The ranch is gorgeous. The valley is gorgeous. Very famous wine region. If you ever saw the movie Sideways, it was filmed in this area. It's just spectacular.
Stephen, last question before I let you go. We're going to forego all the Labor Day recipes and suggestions and stuff, but for the people
you can find that on my website anyway.
Yeah, of course. For the people that like to imbibe a little bit in the adult libations, do you have any favorite summery cocktails that you've been enjoying that you might be serving for Labor Day?
I've been making that grilled sangria from Project Fire all summer. I really love it. You start with oranges, lemons, limes, even a grapefruit, dip them in sugar and grill the cut fruit over a screaming hot fire to caramelize the sugar. That gets cut up, goes in a punch bowl with rum, with fire-seared cinnamon sticks, and you let it macerate with a little brown sugar. And then right before serving, if you want a white sangria, you add Prosecco. If you want a red sangria, you add Lambrusco. Never club soda, never Sprite or any kind of soda enters my sangria. And it's really awesome. You'll find that recipe in Project Fire.
All right, and you can visit barbecuebible.com for other grilling recipes and barbecue recipes for Labor Day weekend. On the third Tuesday of the month, you find them right here. It is BBQ Hall of Fame'er and prolific cookbook author and writer of all things barbecue and grilling, for crying out loud, Stephen Raichlen. Stephen, always appreciate the time.
Hey, grill on. Have a great Labor Day.
There
Bye-bye.
he is, Stephen Raichlen. Love it. That book is going to be out very soon.
Appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
May will be here before you know. No doubt.
Yummy.
May, remember, 2018 rapidly coming to a close. Everybody laughs when I say it like the first Tuesday into the year, but, we're almost done with August, folks. Believe it. Brett Gallaway coming up out of the break. Cook Shack manufactures smoker ovens for barbecue lovers with any amount of experience, whether you barbecue in your backyard, on the competition circuit, or in a 5-star dining facility. Cook Shack has the unit that will do the job, and with a full line of barbecue spices, sauces, pellets, and wood chunks, it's the perfect one-stop shop. Cook Shack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering cooking classes, online recipes, how-to videos, 2 blogs, smoke and grilling 101s, and a video cooking classroom. Check out their website at cookshack.com or follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. Get advice and share your passion for barbecue on their world-class barbecue forum. Cook Shack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champions because they were designed by a champion. Ed Fast Eddie Moore and the FEC 100, PG 1000 are always customer favorites. The PG 1000 can actually double as a smoker and a grill. Low and slow, hot and fast, the pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. Now, maybe you're not into pellet cookers, fine. Cook Shack residential electric smokers, if you like those. They just happen to be the #1 smoker in the industry. High quality means high durability and versatility. Anything you can cook in your oven, you can make it a Cook Shack. Passion and dedication drives Cook Shack's manufacturing, with quality always being at the forefront. Get the best in barbecue since 1962. Call 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Or visit the website, cookshack.com. We are back with Brett Gallaway from the State Cook-Off Association. Coming up right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, thanks again to Stephen Raichlen for joining me last segment, barbecuebible.com, his website. Also, if you're going to be... Well, go to Facebook and check out the Alizell Resort. Ranch and Resort, I think it was called. I'll also try and remember to put the link up in the post-show notes. So if you're going to find yourself out there, go ahead, check it out. This portion of the show brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your #1 source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit Cookin Pellets, COOKIN.com for more information or purchase. In lieu of that, you can also buy Cookin' Pellets right on Amazon.com. Don't forget to download the cookinpellets.com app. It's free. Hey, the third Tuesday of the month brings a visit from the co-founder of the State Cook-Off Association. What's happened since the last visit we missed last month? What's happening over the next few weeks? All questions that will be answered, and perhaps even more as we rejoin a conversation and race to the Traeger Grills hotline to welcome back Brett Gallaway. Hey, Brett.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Brett. Appreciate you making time for the show as always. So, as I had just mentioned in the open, we missed last month. So, a lot of things continue to happen in the State Cook-Off Association, gaining popularity each and every week. So, I guess from a holistic standpoint, as you're looking at it as one of the leaders of the organization, how does the SCA feel to you guys right now?
Feels pretty good. I mean, we're still pushing forward. There's some competition out there that has sprung up here late in the year, and that's all right. There's room for everybody. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're in the stretch run. We got 44 events till the championship, which is in October. So every weekend's a big weekend.
Brett, let's go ahead and look back at, I guess, what we would call some of the spotlight events, or at least in your eyes, what you think some of the really big events were here over the last 4 or 5 weeks. What were some of those big wins and showcase moments?
Well, this week we were at the Ace Hardware show, and heck, 3 of your guests were there. Raichlen was there, Saffron was there, we were there. But it was a great show, and we even did a cook-off there. And Dylan White won that event. Same weekend last weekend in West, we had 63 teams. Brenda's wife got her second win down there. That's a tough crowd down there. But she won that one, and then we had the big one up in St. Paul, Minnesota. We had 65 teams up there.
Wow.
Tattoo Bob West drove up from Kansas and won that thing. So there's been some big events, a lot of fun events, and it seems like every weekend there's something new coming up that's almost a marquee event. But, the guys are supporting the events and having a great time. And with new events coming up in Delaware we got one coming there. There's a new America's Finest in San Diego. It's our first one down in the San Diego area. There's one in Charleston on the 3rd. Got another one in Australia. I mean, they're spreading out, which is awesome because it's a lot more people to try it. Give us a try, see what they think, and hopefully they have a good time. People are hospitable, and they'll come back and cook another event.
Brett, we've talked about it a little bit here in shows past, but for the folks that are just tuning in this evening, when you hear you answer a question and say, okay, we're going to be in San Diego, and then we're going to be on the other side of the coast, we'll probably be in the middle. Oh, by the way, quick jump over to Australia, and I know we talked about a partnership that was going on there the last time you were on. Logistically for you and for Ken, what's that like on you guys? Pretty harsh?
Well, it takes an army, man. Ken and I, Ken's co-founder, we travel to a lot of events. I probably do 47 this year, or I will do 47. Oh. But, we couldn't do it without the guys that run the events. We've got Michelle Dang here in the Texas area and, Troy Youngblood up in Omaha. And, there's just David Haskett down in Florida. There's so many guys that are running their areas and help build those areas. We really couldn't do what we do without them. So it's really a testament to those boys. We're just trying to, run the logistics side more than anything, I guess.
So what do they do? Are they just SCA believers, and then they go within? Do you give them an area of responsibility or something along those lines to try and build events?
Well, these guys are reps for SCA, similar to a KCBS rep. But these guys, they do believe in SCA, and they like being at the events and the camaraderie. And so these guys, some of them are out there approaching events and recruiting events for us. And Danny Kennedy down in the Memphis, Tennessee area, Danny's probably brought in 15 events, 18 events. And he's got a schedule that he works and just has a great time. And, guys really like Danny. So we're thankful that these guys are that passionate about what they're doing. They're having a great time. It just helps us to continue doing what we're doing.
So will they identify, let's say, a car festival, or they drive by a place that seems to have a lot of property, and this in their head they're like, man, this would be a place for an SCA event. I'm just going to go ahead and cold call and start the ball rolling from there. Does it happen just as basic as that?
It kind of did at the beginning. David Haskell would reach out to different people and that he knew that had ran events in the past, or it is a great location like Budweiser. He found the Budweiser event down in Jacksonville, Florida. But the guys will reach out to people, and now it's got to where if someone in that area wants to run an event or, hears about an event, they'll actually contact our rep and go through them, and then they'll go through us. But, they're kind of a arm for us, an extension of what we do, and, they're guys that we trust greatly.
All right, we love to talk about points and results and where leaders are currently. So what's the SCA top 10 looking like right now?
It's Chuck Edwards, the vet, is still on top. He's got 142 points, and Perkins is in second. These guys have been near the top, kind of alternating this year. The old KG veteran, Johnny Joseph, is moving up. I don't know if anybody's seen him coming, but he's in third now. And Johnny's our 3-time points champion at SCA. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy Parsons is in fourth, couple points behind. He's got a chance to jump up there any day. Dan Ewer, he's doing great. And then in sixth, the guy that's moving the fastest right now is a guy named John Lindsay. He was a barbecue guy that's kind of turned SCA guy. And I want to say he's done 21 events this year, but he is really jumping up the list pretty quickly. But he's made it all the way up to 6. The goal for the guys, the points champion this year, is going to win a trip to the Bahamas. Wow. Grill Greats has teamed up with us in Pelican, and we're going to send them down there. They get the flight, they get to stay at the resort, they get to take part in the Grill Great event, entry into the cook-off. Heck, Pelican even gives them a luggage set to take with them.
Wow. Big money.
So, there's a lot at stake for these guys.
Brett Gallaway joining me here on the show, co-founder of the State Cook-Off Association, statecookoffs.com, their website. Do you see any emerging new trends or hearing about anything? We've talked in the past about using these kind of grates or this kind of cooker. Do you see any seasonings or finishing butters or truffle, whatever, anything like that that's like making an emergence where people are using it and winning?
We like to ask everybody at the end of a cook-off, hey, what are you cooking on? What kind of charcoal are you using? Just to kind of get feedback. And it seems a lot of the guys out there are using PK grills. You've got some Webers out there. You've got guys that are sous vide that are finishing in the top 10. So that's kind of a new trend for this year. I blame Meathead for that.
Sure.
He's always got a new trend. If it's not reverse sear, now I'm not sure what next year will be, but that's starting to make a little play. You see different guys trying different things, different butters, ghees, different things they're trying out there. I really don't get to see much of what is done on the other side from in the judge area, but I listen well.
Brett, let's talk a little bit about let's go ahead and talk about some upcoming events here over the next 3 or 4 weeks before you'll rejoin me next month and do a recap of those. What are you guys looking forward to? Obviously, all the events are important, but do you have any spotlights?
Our first event in Kansas City is on September 30th. It's at a Worth Harley-Davidson there, but, that's our first one there. We've got the first one in Ontario, Canada. It's called Steaktacular, and it's part of a festival. I believe they have 10,000 people at this festival. It's actually on 9/29, so we're excited to go up there, be part of that. And you ever been to Praise the Lard Cook-Off?
I have not been to it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Mike Mills' event up there. It's KCBS, MBN, and SCA. So we're real proud to be part of that event. And then we've got one at the beginning of the month in St. George, Delaware, the Operation Barbecue Relief and Steak and Ribs up there. All the benefits go to Operation Barbecue Relief, but it's our first event in Delaware, so we're real excited to get out there.
Do you have all the states you have marked off so far? Like, what's your count so far?
31 so far.
All right.
It'll be 32 soon.
Yeah, you're getting to 50 pretty quick there. Can we talk a little bit about the popularity of steak cooking as a growing industry? And you kind of reference it at the top there because, it is, I think, just that, a growing industry. You can almost kind of seem like visionaries to a degree. You're now, almost 5 years or so into existence. Did you anticipate seeing not only this growth, but more competitive steak sanctioning bodies roll out as you started to get going? Did you foresee that or think that was going to happen?
Well, honestly, we didn't foresee the growth as it came. I mean, we were excited and wanted more people to enjoy what we were doing. So we're excited about it, and to have it grow like it has been really neat, really fun experience. Eventually we knew somebody would come along and do it. We actually talked to other organizations about doing some things together, and that just didn't materialize. And so that's all right. There'll be more people cooking steak, and we've got a definite feel to our events. I feel we've got a little SCA family culture going, and I think that's, what may make us different than some other events. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing and enjoying every event, treating it like it's our first, and I think we'll be all right.
I think the last time you were on, we had briefly touched on the American Competitive Steak Association, or the ACSA. That's actually based here in Ohio, as I had found out. Maybe a week or so after that, KCBS rolled out the National Grilling Society, and I had a conversation with Randall Bowman a week or so after that here on this show. And it seemed, from what I took away, that that might be more than just steak events. But, of course, there was some talk about where the SCA would fit into future KCBS events now with the NGS rolled out. So if I could just ask you a question or two as it relates to that. From a year-to-year view, how many SCA events have been tied into a KCBS barbecue event? Is it like a small percentage or pretty decent? Or
that's a decent percentage. I think we had probably 55, 60 this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
55, so somewhere around there.
Do you foresee KCBS telling an event that it should be giving more consideration, not telling them that they can't do one or the other, but saying, hey, you might want to give a little bit more consideration to an NGS event versus an SCA event?
Well, man, I'm sure that's up to them. That's none of my my business. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I really don't want to. I don't want to speculate on any of that. I respect what they do, and they're the gold standard of barbecue judging. So, good luck to them, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
I'd had Dan Hurst on a couple weeks ago, and Randall Bowman, as I just mentioned. I asked them both this question, and I wanted to get your take on it. So let's say 3 years from now, everyone's still around, everybody's flourishing in their own rights. Would you and Ken be down for putting on some kind of like ultimate steak throwdown? Well, not putting on, but being a part of some kind of ultimate steak throwdown where you get, let's say, top 10 in SEA, top 10 from ACSA, top 10 from National Grilling Society, and just have a winner-take-all event, $1 billion prize purse, all that stuff. Would that be fun, or would you not want any part of that?
Man, we already do it. We have the SCA World Championship, the winner of every steak event in the world. I mean, we've got 26 teams committed to coming from overseas already to this championship. You got to win to get in. We've got the best cookers cooking it. There's the KCBS guys that cook ours. I don't know the other organization who cooks in it yet. I haven't really looked at it too much, but I'm sure their guys make cooking ours too. So, there'll probably be more crossover in the future with everybody. And if that's the case, great. But, I think we run the premier steak cook-off in the world. I mean, Friday night, guys are going to walk down the red carpet. They're going to get interviewed. We've got cameras there. We've got, when they come inside, some of the teams are going to be announced with their walk-up songs. And we got 180 teams competing on the weekend. So I think we've got a great event. I'm not really worried about 3 years down the line. I really want to focus on this championship and just focus on us.
180 teams.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And almost 30 international teams confirmed.
Yeah, I think we have 26 confirmed now.
Wow.
There's a few that aren't coming, but, we're really proud of that. I think, I don't know how many are at the Jack, but, just to be anywhere near what the international teams feel. The Jack's prestigious, man. I tried to get there when I was a barbecue team, and I couldn't. But, for those teams to care enough and have enough passion for grilling a steak to come from Australia, from Japan, from Canada, from the Netherlands, United Kingdom, to come from all that distance to come compete in a steak, that's honoring to us. That is humbling. Hard to believe.
When is that finals taking place, the World Championships?
It's October 4th through 7th. It's in Fort Worth, Texas.
All right, so if you are going to be around Fort Worth, and we'll continue to hype that here over the next month or so, check it out. Fort Worth, Texas, October 4th through, could be worse places to be October 4th through 7th, and Fort Worth as well. So not to mention to be around a bunch of great steak cooks. The third Tuesday of the month, you can usually find Brett Gallaway, co-founder of the Steak Cook-Off Association, and the website, steakcookoffs.com, right here on this show. Brett, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, buddy. Bye-bye.
You got it. There he is, Brett Gallaway. Oh! Johnny's not coming back to you. He just hung up. What can I tell you? Nobody's got any time to wait anymore. I got a professional operation going around here. The least you people do can wait and go back to John. He wants to give you your parting cash prize. Sorry, you can't call back now and claim that cash prize. That gets rolled into next week's cash prize. Hang out for John. Let him warm you down a little bit. He's got parting questions to ask you. I'm going to talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers while John regains his composure. Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. A curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at BigPapaSmokers.com has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling. Big Papa Ball himself, from award-winning rubs and sauces to American-made grills and smokers, Big Papa Smokers has something that everybody could possibly benefit from, buy, and or enjoy, or otherwise. If you're a backyard barbecue fanatic like me or competition pro, Big Papa Smokers has something just for you. They got these great rubs and seasonings. You ever heard of Sweet Money or Cattle Prod or Cash Cow? All proven winners on the competition circuit and in the backyard. Pick up a bottle today at BigPapaSmokers.com. Don't forget West Coast Offense, right? It's a combination of Simply Marvelous and Big Papa Smokers. Over the past few years, West Coast Offense pretty much All the great teams are using some version of that. Not everybody, but a lot of them are. You might want to check it out. Big Papa Smoker's also the proud owner of Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce that will please everyone, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavor, remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. Check out that sauce plus other top-rated sauces at BigPapaSmokers.com. Don't forget about their great selection of pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers available. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa Smokers is the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. Nobody else is doing that. Not a fan of pellet smokers? Okay. Take a look at the old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts to put on his competition trailer. Kind of looks like a mailbox. Fits a lot of food in it. Convection cooking at its best. If you're a backyard barbecue enthusiast looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, the M Grill from Texas is just what you need. They're built like tanks. Not sure what kind of grill you need? You really can't go wrong with anything featured on BigPapaSmokers.com. They have something for every kind of backyard cook and budget. It's the place to go. Every product featured on their website, hand-selected to help you barbecue better, boost your skills. If you have any questions, give them a call at 877-828-0727, 877-828-0727, or the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, thanks again to Brett Gallaway for joining me last segment, the Steak Cook-Off Association's co-founder. The segment brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via the Bluetooths. If you have Alexa or Google Assistant in your home, you are in luck. Fireboard, fully integrated with both. You knew that already. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. A question coming in from Steve D. Greg, question for the show. Why do people go crazy over frozen meat from online sites? I always thought fresh was higher quality. Ooh, good question, Steve. I don't think that you can necessarily say that frozen beef is lesser quality. I think it starts with the beef that you start with. So a lower quality beef might not be as great frozen as higher quality beef, but I don't think the frozen part has anything to do with it. They're freezing it because it, A, lasts longer, and then it can get to you at your particular destination, because not everybody is going to drive out to Boise, Idaho. I mean, while John Dawson is an incredible draw, a lot of you aren't going to make that trip out to Boise. I'm using Snake River Farms just as a for example, but wherever you're at, I mean, there's a whole bunch of other great high-end meat purveyors. You know, I'm probably not going to drive to Pat LaFrida in New York City to buy my high-end meat. So he's going to send it to me, probably frozen. Snake River Farms meat shows up frozen. But when it's thawed out, it's so great. Come on. All right. Again, just my opinion. I think the quality of the meat is what matters, not if it's frozen or not. So if you get a sale on Wagyu from whoever you're getting it, as long as it's legit, buy it. Thaw it out. You'll never remember it was frozen. It's good. I mean, I've had a lot of frozen stuff from high-end people, and, you know, it's good. All right, we are pointing to the second hour here. Thanks again to my first hour guests, Brett Gallaway, Steak Cook-Off Association, and Stephen Raichlen, BBQBible.com. Refill the libations. We'll be back in about 35 seconds or so. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show right here on the BBQ Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is Jenny Bell from Clarington, Ohio, and I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Oh no, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Liberty, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we're into the second hour. Welcome aboard. This is the Barbecue Central Show. You are getting this, however you're getting it, either live or in podcast form after the fact. Remember, the show is live Tuesdays, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Happening live, not something that was recorded that I am now deciding to play at said time. Happening live. Who knows what could happen? I don't know. We're going to see. For instance, Saffron Hodgson will be in about 13 minutes from now. The executive director of the National Barbecue and Grilling Association, also the creator of Bush Cooking. I think that's where she made her mark, Bush Cooking. Also closing out the show, Carl McBee. First-timer to the show, so stay tuned for that. Actually, Saffron and Carl, both first-timers to the show. If you missed the first hour, no problem. Make sure you subscribe to the show on podcast. Please do me a favor, especially if you're using iTunes or whatever they call it now, Apple Podcasts. By the way, if you are a podcaster, and I've been receiving this message a lot here over the last 72 hours or so from other people who have podcasts saying, I went through the same thing you did. iTunes ripped my show off the listing. They've delisted me. Yeah. In the author field, make a note, in the author field, you have to have your name and just your name. You can't have, for instance, I'll use me as an example, Greg Rempe, master barbecue talk show host talker guy. Hashtag Summer of Brisket, hashtag Horse Meat 2018, hashtag BBQ Central. You can't put all that in there. It's just your first name and your last name. Evidently, they've been doing a lot of warning that this was going to happen. I didn't get any warnings. I was just delisted unmercifully and unilaterally. But now I'm getting more and more emails going, oh, the same thing happened to me. No! Yes. Go into whoever is doing your feed, and you should own your own feed, by the way. That's a different story for a different day. In the author field, make sure your name, we speak your name. Make sure your name is in there. Okay? John Dawson weighing in via email, fresh or frozen. Ramps, I've almost always been against frozen meat, but I've recently become a little more frozen flexible. My thinking is that freezing expands the water in the meat fibers and explodes some of the cells, thereby potentially tenderizing the meat. I may be full of it, but that's my rationale. Well, I can guarantee John is full of it.
Get that free stuff out of here.
Good information, that is. Look, I don't know if fibers are exploding. I don't know if any company that is freezing beef would also then admit to the fact that as they're flash freezing the meat, and I think that's maybe also the key, like the flash freezing, not the long-term freezing. Like if you put raw meat from your refrigerator into your freezer, it's going to take a couple hours. You know, this is like Luke's. Oh man, come on, nerds, help me out. Who's the guy that got frozen in the Star Wars? Han Solo. No, that's what they called me in high school, right? That's it. Han Solo. Yeah, the guy, he got frozen immediately. That's like flash freezing. So I don't think you're talking about, I don't think that meat fibers are exploding. I don't know. So again, Saffron Hodgson coming up and Carl McBee. Steve D, does that give you another perspective? Again, John is not claiming to know that for a fact, nor can I vouch for that. As a matter of fact, I'm giving you potentially a different thought process on the hand solo. So this is typically where I'll give you some kind of a news piece or keep you in line with what's happening in the world of barbecue and grilling or a food safety item or something along those lines. But forget that. This segment, I am going to make you be the coolest parent ever. And for the folks getting this on audio podcast, I apologize up front, but you will have to refer, if you're interested. Maybe you're not interested in what I'm about to say, so don't do what I'm about to tell you. But if you're interested, you'll have to refer to the video archive at some point so you can get the full view of what I'm about to tell you. Now, if you're an adult, if you're married or divorced or have a partner or whatever it is, and you have middle school age or high school age kids, maybe older. I mean, maybe a lot older because I think this was spawned off professional soccer players, and you know how I feel about soccer.
Get that big stuff out of here.
There's been this thing going around where you put your hand over your eye in a certain way. I believe it's called the Ollie hand celebration. The Ollie hand celebration. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure your kids have, and they are all trying their best to figure out how to do it. And while it looks simple, it's a little trickier than what you see here. I'm going to show you the video so you have full idea what I'm talking about here. This, okay.
No.
He's not doing it. Okay, hold on. I got to go back. So the thing used to be this, like the PI. Cavaliers used to do it all the time. They'd shoot a three-pointer, make it, hit the P. Well, then it just turned into... Now, what these guys are trying to do is wrong. So let me go back. So this guy can't figure it out. He can't do it. He's not doing it right.
Go.
Are your kids doing this? I'm going to pause here so you can see what it looks like. Right, then I'm going to show you how to do it.
Try.
Okay, this guy.
Let me see.
Come on. See? Can't do it. Here's the guy that knows how to do it. Here it comes. Boom. Boom. That's the look that you are going for, believe it or not. This is really a thing. The alley hand celebration. Do you see what he just did there? Let me roll it back. Keep rolling. This guy does not. Here it is. Boom. Boom. Try it right now.
Now you go.
No. See? These guys can't do it. But I am here to help, okay? It's very simple. I've broken it down. I am not putting up how-to videos on the Holly hand celebration. But if you have kids on Instagram, believe me, they are into this. This is how you do it. You don't do it like this. You don't do it like this. None of that's... Not the reverse sun goggles, nothing like that. Very simple. I'm going to help you be the cool kid. I'm going to break it down so you can one-up your kids who probably haven't figured it out yet. Or you can celebrate in a brand new way at work when you close the big deal or make that great pitch to the client, whatever it is that you do for a living. Log your millionth safe mile driving a Peterbilt 379. 389. Long hood, 80-inch sleeper, double bump. Here you go. Right hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to show you how to do it on the right hand. Make the A-OK sign. Okay? Now, if you want, you go A-OK and then drop the I, or, you know, where you're going to put over the I, up to the top. Now you have your hands, your fingers feathered down here already. Easy to do. Okay? Then, boom. Right here. It's exactly what he did. Right there. Now, you can also go like this. Okay, hold on. Now I'm getting myself confused. Yeah. There it is. Seems weird, But trust me, everybody is doing it right now. That's the look you're going for. Start down, the A-OK sign, lift it up, and then just invert your hand. Very simple. Okay? I don't know how else to tell you. I know what you're thinking. Seems crazy that kids are doing this. I totally agree. People are posting how-to videos on YouTube with the Ali hand celebration. A-L-L-I hand celebration. Let me show you one more time. The A-OK. Drop the fingers down. The A-OK is now at the top, and then just invert this way. Right on the eye. There it is. I mean, that looks great. Tomorrow when I close my 15-truck deal that is pending, I'm going to be like, customer, signature, sign it, boom. Ali hand celebration. How about that? Thank you for that 15-order truck deal. Let's go grab some pie. You can look at me like I'm completely ridiculous that I just spent time on trying to make you more hip. You will be thanking me later. I know it. I know it. A lot of you aren't going to be able to do what I just taught you. It's going to be tough. It's all right. I have patience. Shoot videos and send them to me so I can review your progress. I want to see those. I'll play them on the show. Kinger, I know you'll do it. Let me talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills before we get to Saffron Hodgson from NBBQA. Green Mountain Grills. 3 different sizes to choose from. Totally portable. Great capacity. Wonderful portability. Known as the Davy Crockett. If you don't have access to a traditional power outlet, Davy Crockett will plug into the 12-volt adapter in your vehicle. Fits in the back of all of your trucks, vans, and SUVs, so it's totally portable and ready to go wherever you are. Then you have the medium-sized version, the Daniel Boone, very popular, both in the consumer market and on the competition trail. Now, the Big Daddy, Jim Bowie, I got both. Cooks a lot of ribs, a couple of full briskets, a bunch of different pork butts, depending if you're panning or not. That's the Jim Bowie. Now, the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone also can accommodate the pizza oven insert. I recommend it if you're going to get one or the other. Can't put the pizza oven insert in the Davy Crockett. Sorry about that. But with the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone, pizza oven insert works. It's like $130. Typically include shipping if you're buying on Amazon.com. Rip the guts out of those cookers. Slam the pizza oven insert down. Set your pit temperature around 350 degrees or so. Make adjustments however you want. If you want to cook hotter, factor this. Roughly double at the pizza stone where your cooker is set at. So I like to run at about 325, 350. That gets me to 650, 700 degrees. If you want to go to 1,000 degrees, ramp it up to 500 degrees on the cooker. You'd be 1,000 degrees in the pizza oven insert. Things can get dicey very quickly in that regard. Take it from me, who's tried it. Once it goes sideways, you can't get it back straight. Very difficult. So I will like 325, 350. You do what you like. But if you're going to get the Jim Bowie or the Danny Boone, get the pizza oven insert. They also have pellets and sauces and rubs and all that stuff. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. Saffron Hodgson. When we come back, stick around. We'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, Smoking with Smithfield committed cooks. Remember to head to smokingwithsmithfield.com to report your first place wins to claim prizes. Have you registered to compete in the American Royal Pork Loin Ancillary Contest? Smithfield increased the prize purse to $6,000. Make sure you sign up at the American Royal website today. Don't forget to sign up for the Smithfield Classic. That returns in about a month's time to Richmond, Virginia on September 29th. To sign up, reach out to Jesse at Big Papa Smokers. That's Jesse, Jessie, at BigPapaSmokers.com. Probably only a few spots left, if there are any, by the way. So hit her up if you're interested, and she will get you signed up. That's Jesse at BigPapaSmokers.com. All right, this past March, I went to Fort Worth, Texas, did 3 live shows, 3 hours a day, for the annual BBQ 2018 event put on by the National Barbecue and Grilling Association. We had some conversations about where the organization is currently, what it has been viewed at in the past, and where it would like to go in the future. And since that event, there have been some changes at the very top of the organization, most notably the departure of Stuart Meyer as the executive director this past week. There was a big push at the Ace Hardware event in Chicago for NBBQA memberships to increase, putting their mid-level memberships on sale for $100, down from $175. So what's it all about, and should you consider getting some kind of membership in the NBBQA? Well, why not take the time to ask the new executive director of and creator of Bush Cooking's website, first-timer to the show. We welcome Saffron Hodgson to the show. Saffron, how are you?
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Saffron. Thank you for making time to the show. Always a busy going around different places. So where are we finding you this evening?
Today, I believe I'm in Mississippi. It's been a long day.
But who knows, right?
Yeah, so on the road, I'm heading through to Louisiana, and this is just where I ended up tonight.
Okay, so just to pass through, we're talking with Saffron Hodgson. We'll talk about the NBBQA here in just a minute, but first I wanted to spend a couple minutes getting a little background about you. So, obviously for anybody that has an attuned ear, maybe not a domestic citizen of these United States, but where'd you grow up, and what's your background like in live fire cooking in general?
Accents from Australia. I started cooking really young in the Girl Scouts, and I sort of kept at it my whole life, a lot of camping, that type of thing. I've moved around a lot, fairly nomadic. And when I got to America was when I first came across competitive cooking. And I started originally in competitive Dutch oven, and then, as per most people, doing the competition cooking, moved over to barbecue, and subsequently steak and chili and pretty much anything outdoors.
What brought you over from Australia? Was it business, or you just wanted to get over here for something that was pulling you over here? Like, I'm always fascinated with why people leave their country for another.
Yeah, so I was career chasing for a long time. I lived in Singapore for a year before I moved to America, and my husband at the time, it was his turn to pick, and he moved to Microsoft in Seattle, and that's where I've lived ever since.
You ever eaten a balut egg?
I have politely declined and not gone down that path.
I heard it tastes like chicken. You know anybody that's tasted it that would confirm or deny that?
I've had lots of describing words, but that wasn't one of them. I mean, living in Asia, I was getting all sorts of weird food all the time. You know, some days you feel like trying something new, and other days you just try and stick with the normal.
Saffron, talk to me a little bit about Bush Cooking and where that came up. I mean, was that derived from that original passion of the Dutch oven?
I worked for All Recipes as well. For those who don't know, I looked after the Australian site, so I was working with recipes all the time. And generally speaking, with my passion being in outdoor cooking, I didn't think there was a very good site that covered the recipes that we do with the amount of detail that we need. I mean, if you try and fit an outdoor recipe into a normal recipe sort of template, it doesn't fit. So on my side, I let it be a little bit of a larger format, so we can start putting in wood types. We can talk a little bit more about the temperatures that are needed and how to control the fire rather than just like that short slot to fit in a temperature. And it's been doing really quite well from all diversity across outdoor cooking with the Dutch oven and live fire, the camping and trekking. I try to cover off on a little bit of everything. And of course, barbecue.
Do you think that Dutch oven cooking is a little overlooked as far as the whole live fire aspect? I mean, I think when I talk to people that have a passion or an interest in it, it's kind of consuming for them, like the barbecue people really dig into it. But I don't know if I know that many people that will sit there and readily talk and admit that they're big Dutch oven people. I mean, not admit like, you know, they're sad about it or anything, but it just doesn't seem to be as off the tongue as barbecue or grilling is.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more regional, can I say that? So if you go down the Utah, Montana, sort of that strip down into Texas, there's definitely people there who are as passionate about Dutch oven as we are all about barbecue. But we're seeing a lot more overlap as well. Like I've seen a lot of the Dutch oven guys move into barbecue, but also the barbecue guys are genuinely interested in the Dutch oven. It's just maybe they're not got the knowledge yet, or they found that right person to sort of do a lot of it, if that makes sense. It's more something they do on the side or when they go camping.
Saffron Hodgson joining me here on the show. Saffron, is that a family name? I mean, that's like one of the most expensive spices to cook with. So, I mean, it's only fitting that I guess you would have that first name with your passion that you have followed, right?
Yeah, it was just a lucky coincidence. My dad's from the UK. Apparently, it's quite a common name there. That's what he tells me, but I still haven't met very many Saffrons around.
Prior to taking the executive director's position at NBBQA, did you have prior dealings with the organization, or were you affiliated with them in any way?
I was a member for about 3 years, I think, and I attended some of their conferences. So I was generally had a pretty good understanding of what they were doing and what they were trying to achieve.
So how do you get the director's position? Is that something where a board has some type of a quorum and you're brought up and voted on? Do you apply for the position? They do like a Survivor and you were the last one on the island, so you get it? What's the deal there?
I wish it was a Survivor and I was the last one on the island. That sounds like a great way to pick an executive director.
Right,
but
right.
No, it was the traditional way. I sent in my resume. It went into the board. They reviewed, made the decision. I never sort of doubled back and went, hey, how did you pick me? I was just super excited to get the role.
So from a executive director's position, and then you look at the rest of the positions within NBBQA, I mean, there is a president of the NBBQA, your executive director. Like, how do those positions both differ, and how do you work, I guess, in concert with the rest of the folks that are on the board?
Yeah, so the board's obviously all voted in, and they've been around for a while. So Mark Lambert's our current president, and they run just pretty much like any other board anywhere else that you'd find. The board makes all the decisions. Obviously, as executive director, I don't get a vote. I sort of like to think of it more as like a glorified, very proactive secretary. So they have decisions. I help implement them. I provide advice. I research as directed by them, and together it's a big team right now, and we're working towards a whole bunch of goals and just building the association, providing value for our members.
So is the president the one that would be termed the big vision guy or gal, or is that more you?
I would say it's a collective. I mean, so far my experience is someone will bring an idea to the table, we'll talk about it, we'll talk about the pros and cons and whether that's something we can do right now. And then they'll champion that idea all the way through, and I'll just help make sure that they have the support, the logistical support to make that happen. So I don't think there's a single person when it comes to this. And, you know, and even general members of the association can bring up ideas, and we can follow through on those as well.
Saffron Hodgson joining me here on the show, Executive Director of the National Barbecue and Grilling Association. Website, by the way, nbbqa.org, and bushcooking.com if you want to check that out too. What's the state of the NBBQA, I guess, directly after Stuart left, like, and you're kind of picking up where he left off?
Yes, Stuart had been around for quite a while,
Yep.
and he was bringing the association up. They had a lot of projects in different stages, and I guess I was lucky enough to tag off from him, and I'm taking it to the next step to sort of make some of those come to the end, and picked up some new projects as well. And then eventually I will tag on to the next person, and we'll just keep growing and developing as the industry needs us.
So was Stuart under some type of a contract and it was just up, and like kind of a mutual thing where he wasn't interested in renewing or something like that? Or was there just an ultimate differing of opinion, and there was a departure of ways, and that left an opening?
You know, I'm not really sure. I just knew that there was a job opening and it was my chance. He certainly did a great job handing over to me all the projects. He's still got a huge passion for barbecue. I know he spends a lot of time with people in barbecue. And I wish there was more of a fun story, but that's about it at the moment.
So from a vision standpoint and a directionality standpoint,
yep.
How is it between all of the collectives as you were talking about? Like, what's the vision and the way to steer the ship right now as the NBBQA is concerned?
So as I see it, and I'm interpreting it from the board, at the moment there's a real focus on our members and making sure our members are getting the value that they need from the membership. Remembering that the way this is registered, it is sort of a trade association / professional membership. So the members that we have are in the industry of barbecue somewhere, and obviously the industry of barbecue is huge. We've got people that make products, we have people that run restaurants, we have people that are selling barbecue, there's lots of sauces and rubs, and obviously now talking to you as a member as well, there's a lot more people in the marketing and communications and podcasting industries. So there's a lot there.
Is there a misconception or reality that NBBQA isn't for a backyard warrior person, you know, somebody that just likes to fire it up on the weekend, maybe not a competitor, doesn't own a restaurant, or is, you know, pitching a ware, service, or product that's related to the industry? Is it more of a trade, or is it open to any and all?
It is open to any and all, but I like to think of the enthusiast backyard member as a potential entrepreneur, somebody who is emerging into the industry perhaps. So if you look at almost all the members across NBBQA and all the successful people in the barbecue industry, I mean, we all start off as a backyard warrior or a competitor. So I guess if you're going to come into the NBBQA from that sort of background, generally they're wanting a little bit more. It also is a good way for those type of people, if they're really, really passionate, to get an access level to professionals in the industry that you might not otherwise get the opportunity to do. So although, like, we take our conference, for example, we've got like a massive educational section to it. So we're about educating our people and helping all of the businesses that are members to grow. We also have that public day, which is definitely more open to anyone off the street, where we can showcase to the general public what our association members are doing and cooking and capable of, and products and that type of thing. So there is something a little bit there for everybody, but to me, I would say the focus is more towards people in the industry.
So if I am somebody in the industry and I've been on the teetering edge of joining whatever level of membership the NBBQA offers currently, like what's the sell to me? What's the benefit? Is it having the access to those professionals, or getting that education at a conference like that once a year, or is there more to that?
There's definitely more to the association, but the primary areas are the networking opportunities. So definitely in person at the conference is a key thing that most people who are members will recall. But during the year, we also have the special interest groups. So instead of having all this barbecue information you don't necessarily need, if you're a restaurateur, you can join the culinary special interest group, and then you're networking and talking to people just in that industry. And it's also like a sounding board where you can get information that you might not otherwise have. So recently I ran an event, Grill Fest in Seattle. We brought the first Steak Cook-Off Association there, people I met through the NBBQA. As part of that, I decided to get a food truck. I'd never done that before. I went on to what's now the culinary group. I was like, help, I need a food truck. Can anyone help me? Within the hour, I had 3 members from the NBBQA contact me. They helped me negotiate and talk and take into account what I needed to do. So there's resources there all year round. You just sort of got to ask for them. If you join the NBBQA and you sort of just cross your arms and you sit back and you wait for barbecue to happen to you, it's not going to work. It's a two-way street. You've got to get in there, you've got to ask, you've got to network, you've got to provide answers to people, and then people provide answers to you.
Has it been around for, like, is it 25 years or something like that?
I know it's been around a long time. I haven't really been looking backwards. I'm just looking forwards. But yeah, it's definitely been around for a long time.
All right, so the membership numbers would seem to say that there isn't a lot of growth happening year over year. So is it incorrect to think that NBBQA should have, like, tens of thousands of members given the amount of time that it has had, or is it more representative of the industry that it's taking into account?
I think you definitely have to take an industry perspective on it. And the numbers can be a little bit misleading as well, because we have a lot of businesses that have a single membership, but there might be like 2 or 3 or sometimes even 50 people that sit behind that single membership. So because it's a business-orientated membership as well as individual memberships, it's hard to see what the true impact is. But I think it is a good number at the moment. I think there's definitely room for growth. And if anyone's been listening to me out there, I've been saying that my personal goal is to double that in 12 months. And I don't see that as a stretch. But associations like this are only ever going to be as good as the input and the way people interact with them and make them work, if that sort of makes sense.
Do you find that the members are available and willing to give feedback? I think there is a perception, at least, of the barbecue and grilling industry that everybody loves to take a shit on everything and nobody wants to really be proactive and offer solutions to things that they don't like.
I have to say, from my personal experience, over the last few months, everybody I've reached out to for help or assistance, advice, even physical logistics, having just done the conference recently, everyone is definitely willing to help and provide insight. And if they can't help, then they'll put me onto somebody else who can help, who's got the skill set that we're looking for. All
right, so let's talk price points and memberships and all that stuff for the folks that are listening here tonight, or that obviously get it on podcast after the fact. What available memberships are there and what's the cost?
Okay, so the membership restructure has just rolled through. So this is something that Stuart was working on and handed over to me, and he did a pretty good job. So it's much easier now. So you can go in, and the first question you have to ask is, am I an individual or am I a business? If you're an individual, you then have the choice of going in as an enthusiast. So I like to sort of think of it more as an emerging professional. And then the other level is a professional. So you're already in the industry, you're working in the industry, and you're looking for the business side of things. So the enthusiast is from memory 99. It's low, it's under 100. And the professional membership, which is the main one at the moment, which I'm finding a lot of interest in, is the 175. And that one gives you access to the SIGs that you're looking into. Then if you're a business, you can go just straight in as a business, which is 500. That gives you more membership benefits, and you get a couple of people under that that get all the benefits, and then others that can see parts of it. And then we're moving up to the bigger business side as well. So that's more like your industry leaders. And that's the 4 categories that we're running at the moment.
So over the weekend, I saw that you were at the ACE hardware show over at McCormick in Chicago, and you were running a special $75 off of the pro membership. Yes. I think it was. Is that something was just for the weekend and you've missed out at this point, or is that continuing on for a certain streak?
You can absolutely still do that. That's running through to the 30th. So it's a 2-week program that we did in conjunction with the ACE, who's one of our industry partners at the moment. And yeah, it was to celebrate the show. We're looking at getting a lot more people in as part of that, because it's in everybody's interest to grow the association right now.
All right, so if you're interested, head on over to nbbqa.org and pick whatever level you're interested in and sign up. In the meantime, I will thank Saffron Hodgson for joining me this evening, Executive Director of the National Barbecue and Grilling Association. Do we have dates marked down for next year's BBQ 2019 yet, and a place where it'll be yet?
Absolutely do. So it's starting on the 3rd of April, going through the 6th of April, and that's in Kansas City at the Marriott downtown. So as always, the first day will be bus tours and doing a lot of that side of things. 2 days of education where we're ramping it up this year to make sure everyone leaves with at least 10 points. I'm looking for everyone to get 10 points of learning. If you have anything you want to learn, get in contact with me directly and we'll get that on the schedule. And then the last day is the public day, which is out the front on that huge, beautiful square out there, and lots of capacity, and it'll be a wonderful barbecue bash day.
Saffron, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing it.
Thank you.
There she is, the Executive Director of the National Barbecue and Grilling Association.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
Saffron Hodgson. Good first time visit. That was fun. have her on again here to talk about any new business that'll be coming up, obviously. And I'm interested to see what kind of membership they're going to be able to pull off here over the next handful of weeks and months. So she wants to double membership. I don't know where membership is, to be honest. But looking to double that number inside 12 months. So we'll see how that goes. I'll talk to you quickly about Traeger grills. That's right, behind every great meal is a great grill, but not just any grill, a Traeger grill. And the Timberline is Traeger's most advanced grill yet. It allows you to grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, and barbecue like a pro, no matter what your level. Thanks to the incredible wood-fired taste. Seriously, you don't know flavor till you're cooking with it. Traeger grills use all-natural hardwood pellets as fuel, so you're literally cooking with flavor. From low and slow smoked ribs to a seared steak, even a baked apple pie, Traeger's can handle it all. And the Traeger Timberline makes it even easier thanks to the Wi-Fi capability. You can check your cooks, kick up the temps, set custom cook cycles anytime, anywhere, all through your Traeger Grill app. Easy. Find one at your local Traeger dealer or check them out online, TraegerGrills.com. Want to beef up your barbecue game? Traeger Shop Class is going coast to coast, bringing barbecue knowledge and amazing wood-fired food everywhere they go. Taught by professional pit masters. You'll take home all the skills you need to reach barbecue glory. Find a shop class near you and sign up today. TraegerGrills.com/shopclass. All right, we are back to talk about barbecue competitions. Where are they going? Carl McBee will join me coming up out of the break. Stick around, I'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Folks, the National Barbecue News is dedicated to all things barbecue. Their goal to introduce new people to the barbecue world while keeping the barbecue enthusiasts and professional informed on all the current happenings in and around Barbecue Nation. They obtain this goal by offering timely news stories, new product reviews, barbecue event calendars, unique recipes inside their printed products, websites, social media pages, and email newsletters. Subscribe now by visiting BBQ News. That's BARBECUE, barbecuenews.com. That's barbecuenews.com. All right, are you a competitive barbecue cook? Have you been noticing that competitions have shown up as canceled more this year than in years past? Maybe it's really a thing. At least my next guest would like to weigh in on this topic and give his viewpoint. And as I always say, I'm here to provide an unbiased platform for those who wish to express their views and opinions. With that being said, let's head to the Traeger Grill hotline and welcome first timer to the show, a barbecue competition event organizer. Carl McBee joins me here on the show. Carl, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Carl. Appreciate you making time for the show this evening. So I guess before we get into the topic of kind of the state of competition barbecue in your estimation, a little background about you, your ways of getting into live fire barbecue and grilling, and obviously how that stems into competitions.
Sure. Well, one thing before we get all fired up here, one thing I would like to point out, at the beginning of the show, you said I was from Ohio. Actually, I'm in Chillicothe, Missouri.
Oh, really?
I'm about 90 miles from Kansas. I'm about 90 miles from Kansas City, Missouri.
And well, you talk to an Ohio guy, you see Chillicothe on the website, and all you think about is Chillicothe, Ohio. So I apologize for that.
Yep, and ironically enough, we have a prison in this town just like they do in Chillicothe, Ohio.
Really?
But yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, just a real quick thing about me. Probably about 04, 05-ish, somewhere back in there, I competed in a few barbecue contests with a few college buddies of mine. Had a good time, and then marriage and kids and everything kind of took precedent over barbecue. And so as the kids got older, here about probably 3 or 4 years ago, I kind of dipped my toes back in the water. Went out to a few more contests, did a few on my own, did a few big ones on my own with a few friends of mine. And then a friend and I was sitting around one night, and we was like, hey, we ought to do a contest in our town here. And I was like, well, I was like, I know it's been tried years ago, and I have a little bit of experience with organizing big events and that sort of promotions and stuff. And so I was like, well, all right. I was like, if you guys help me, we'll put it together. So we put it together, and the first one was last year in this town. And we had it in a city park in the town that I live in. Started out the first year with 32 teams, and we was pretty much maxed out at 32, and we had 6 teams on a waiting list. Wow. Just because we was just out of room. And out of those teams, we had, I'd say probably 4 or 5 that ended up in the top 10 points of the year last year on the KCBS standings. I mean, we had, I'm not going to sit here and drop names, but we had several.
You're allowed to drop names. Well, I know them all. I have them on the show. Go ahead.
We had Shake and Bake here last year. Yeah. Fergalicious. I can't. My mind's going blank on the grand champion was a team called Smoke This Missouri. Reserve Grand. My mind is going blank on what his name is. I can picture him. He lives down in Oklahoma. But
was it
anyway,
Dave Bosca from Butcher Barbecue?
No. Oh, American Dream.
Oh, okay. Dave Qualls. Yeah. Friend
Dave
of
Qualls,
show.
There you go.
Friend of
show. He was a Reserve Grand.
Nice.
And
big teams.
So anyway, and so we had a really good turnout. Teams were all happy. KCBS reps were all happy. And so during that contest, some friends of mine in a town about 40 miles away from here got with me, and they're like, hey, we want to do this in our town. Can you help us do this over here? And I was like, well, all right, I'll help you guys. And so so this year it was the one in my town and the one 40 miles away. So 2 separate events. On the event in my town this year, unfortunately, we had to cancel it. I've really yet to pinpoint exactly what the reason was for that. It was the weekend before the 4th of July. That's the weekend that we chose last year, beginning of last year, because in this area there was nothing going on that weekend. So we was like, it works for the city, it works for us, let's go with this weekend. So everything worked out good. Well, this year rolled around, and I was noticing that team entries were kind of rolling in slow, and so I got to talking to some of the teams, and I was trying to figure out, what's going on, and then they saying, well, we're going to this other contest that is about 100 and I'd have to look exactly, but 130 roughly away from here. And so I got looking, and they had moved their contest to the same weekend as our contest up here. And I was like, ugh. So that took away a lot of the teams, and so it kind of, and we had the teams that were signed up were here from last year, and a lot of them were chasing points, and so it kind of came down where I was seeing that it wasn't going to be viable. So I told everybody we're just going to pull the plug on this one. But the other one that I do went over spectacular this year, and we're going to do it again next year also. And then since that, another group of friends of mine, we decided I can't make too many announcements yet on it. I was hoping it was all going to be done, and I'd really have some bigger information for you guys, but we're working on a contest in Kansas City for fall of next year, Kansas City area.
Carl, are we talking about the attrition of barbecue competitions, or how you are single-handedly keeping barbecue competitions alive?
No,
what the hell are we talking about?
Yeah, I was just kind of giving a brief background.
No, I get it. I'm just playing
on and so yeah. So in talking with all this, I've helped some other. Now, how I got started on the organizing part of it was, well, number one, I had some outstanding KCBS reps that I knew from years ago, and whenever I got into it on the organizing side, I told everybody, it's like, well, I'm not going to do it unless I can work with these 2 people, because the teams seem to respect this couple, and I knew how things would go. So I kind of picked their brain, they kind of picked mine, and what I did is I went around to about roughly 6 different contests before I planned ours. to get some ideas on what to do, what's working, what's not working. And so just in that process, I've met several of us organizers around the Missouri area, Iowa area, Kansas area, Illinois area. And so we all talk. And just in our talking, we've noticed that just comparing notes, that it seems like some of these contests are coming and going. You have some peaks, you have some valleys. Mm-hmm. Even some of the contests that's been around for years and years are kind of struggling now to get teams. And so we don't know if, and I haven't really ran the numbers on it. I mean, the only way I could do it is if I looked at the KCBS website, seeing how many team or contests were actually planned and canceled. I imagine it's in the double digits pretty easily. But the thing we're noticing is, and it's the same reason why I try to keep the contests that I'm associated with simple and cheap, is that it's expensive on the teams to do this. I know that just from the few that I compete in a given year. If you want to, it's nothing to spend $1,000 easily on a weekend. So what we do is $175 entry free power, free ice, free water. I mean, we do everything for the teams, and we appreciate the teams. And but we start way before our contests, going to other contests. Like I said, meeting the teams, going out there, making ourselves known. And so in that, we've noticed that some of the teams that's been around for a lot of years aren't really doing the big schedule like what they used to. Mm-hmm. They're only doing maybe 3 or 4 select contests in a given year. And it almost seems like there's not enough new ones coming into it to fill that gap.
But have the new ones,
be part of
are new ones not coming in because you're also seeing an increase of competitions that are falling off? So you do see less.
Yeah, and so we're trying to really figure out what exactly is it. Is it? I don't think barbecue has peaked and it's on the downhill side of it. I think it's going up, if not steady. And so what we started doing this year was trying to get new teams into it. Now, we may be doing it right, doing it wrong, but we had our contest in Cameron, Missouri. We had all of our contests have backyard elements to them, and our backyard side at the Cameron contest, I probably can't say the name of one of the sponsors, but we had a meat sponsor who sponsors a lot of the big competition teams around here that said, for anybody who signs up for the backyard contest, we'll get two pork butts, 16 chicken thighs, and 4 racks of ribs, all for $125 entry fee.
Wow.
So, and on top of that, this guy even said that he's not going to compete in the contest, but he would come down and he would help the backyard guys and mentor them and teach them how to do it. So we do things like that to try to get the backyard teams in there and then try to get them enthused a little bit to convert them over into big teams for the following years. But as far as why contests are dropping off, and probably the 6 people that I talk to on a regular basis, there's really no definitive one answer as to what's going on, because there's so many variables in different cities and areas and everything like that. The one thing that I have heard pretty constantly is the KCBS rule of, I believe it's 160-mile radius.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is there like an overlap of, too many contests and too confined of an area?
Well, and I think that's part of it, but I think that one blanket rule for KCBS, it's probably means well, but in the scheme of things and law of unintended consequences, it probably works well in some parts of the country, and in some parts of the country it don't. So, I mean, if you're in the middle of Wyoming, let's say, and doing a barbecue contest, what's a 400-mile exemption? Mm-hmm. But if you're up here in Missouri, I mean, I'm 90 miles from Kansas City, and there's an awful lot of barbecue teams in Kansas City. So whenever I have another contest 140 away from me, it's kind of splitting the teams that are coming to one or the other. And so you got that aspect of it going on. But then I think the other thing, and I can't really make up my mind definitively on this, is you have some teams that are team of the year points chasers. And that's, I think they're outstanding for doing that and then hitting as many contests as they do in a given year. But then there's an awful lot of teams who it's just a weekend with the buddies. Mm-hmm. They don't really care about points. They're just out there having a good time.
Just hobby.
Yeah, it's a hobby. And quite honestly, whenever I do a contest, that's what I am. I don't care about points. I mean, if I get my name called, that's outstanding. But we're not going for team of the year points. Mm-hmm. So now these are just ideas. I mean, and this is just as what's been talked amongst us organizers is we've often thought about how hard it would be to, let's say, divvy up the United States, let's say in like 6 different regions, and kind of having a circuit for each individual region for the teams to go to that are chasing team of the year points. And instead of teams based in Missouri having to go to California or Washington or something like that. So kind of like have a circuit, and then your established contest, that is your weekend. Nobody can come on that. And if another contest wants to come in on that weekend, you can, but you got to understand it's not going to be a points type thing, and you're going to be getting more of those teams that are just out on the weekend just having a good time. Mm-hmm. Now, that's just an idea that's been floated out there. I can see the pros and cons to everything. But I was at the KCBS banquet back in December, I believe, yep. And sat around at a round table with them, and they kind of lightly hit on the subject. But once again, nobody really has any good answers as to why. Because some of these contests, let's face reality, it could be the organizer's fault, could be the organization behind the organizer. Sure. So there's a lot of variables, especially in some of these towns where you're dealing with the chambers of commerce and Lions clubs and et cetera. I know me and the people that I talk to on a frequent basis, I don't take a dime from any contests that I'm associated with. All mine are for charity, at various charities in each individual town. I don't make a dime from it, so it don't bother me either way. But at the end of the day, I like to be able to donate a pretty good sizable check to that charity. So that's the reason why something's going to have to happen one of these days, but I just don't know what that good answer is. And so I know some of us have had a Facebook discussion going on about this and just throwing out ideas about it. And I've even personally been at the KCBS office face-to-face talking with them about it. And they're open to ideas, and I know the board is. I've even spoken to a person on the board. Mm-hmm. And so all these things just start out in ideas. But I don't know. I don't know what a good answer is, I should say.
Carl McBee is doing events right there in Chillicothe, by the way, not Ohio, Missouri. And the website, chillicothebbq.net, that gives all the information on the events that you're running there, Carl?
Yeah, as of right now, that one does. We have a new, that website is the old one. We have a new one coming up here within probably about a week or two that it's completely redesigned and looks better than circa late 1990s web design.
Will that be the same address though?
Yeah, same address, but it's going to be kind of a landing page for all of our contests and everything.
Sounds good. Carl, appreciate your insight this evening, and certainly things to consider. We'll see how it goes from here and whether attrition continues or we start to hit on the upside again. Really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on.
All right. No problem.
There he is. Carl McBee. John, I think he's coming back to you, believe it or not. I think I might have did that right. All right. Oh, no.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grill
hotline. Like I might have did that right. Thanks again to Carl for coming out.
Yummy.
I do often wonder, like, where the line of what's too close. Because there is, I don't know what the rule is, but I know there is a rule in place that if you have a contest on a weekend, you got to be X amount off or X amount of miles away from whatever the nearest contest is on the same weekend. I want to talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Attention, folks in the business of barbecue, okay? Established in 1882, Southside Market and Barbecue, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. We offer premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S., from food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside Sausage can be on your menu, too. Easy stuff. All meats are processed in the on-site USDA-inspected facility. A trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options available, shipping nationwide via the FedEx. Food service distribution via Cisco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging available from R&D to package completion. They can follow your recipe or help you develop something brand new for your menu or place of business. Private labeling opportunities also available. Not familiar with that? Very simple. Let's say you really like Southside Market and Barbecue's beef sausage or their sausage slammers, and you have a food truck or a restaurant. You want to take those exact products, but put your labels on them. That's called private labeling, and they do it. Visit SouthsideMarket.com for more information. Here's the best. 10% off code for online orders. That's the code BBQ Central, one word, lowercase, at checkout when you order stuff from Southside Market on the website, SouthsideMarket.com. Again, 10% off online orders with coupon code BBQ Central, one word. Let's wrap up the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back. Let me go to John here and see if I did it right. John, did I get you?
You got me.
Did you get him back?
I got him back.
Oh, it worked! Very impatient Brett Gallaway at the 9:35 segment. He just hung up. I could see it as I was reaching the forward button. He's like, I got to go.
That's all right. He's a busy guy. He's running thousands and thousands of cook-offs a day.
180 teams for a steak cook-off. Championship.
That's a lot of steak.
30 international teams. 2. Okay. Oh, okay. Am I going to do 180 teams? Okay. And then 2 steaks per team.
Yes.
180. 100. That's 360 steaks.
Let's put a little buffer in there. Why don't you throw 10% for safety?
Oh, God. Okay. 360 steaks. 10%?
Just say. So right, he's going to have a increase.
That's 36 steaks, right? So that's 360 and 36. That's 396 steaks. Wow.
That's a good budget estimate.
It's a lot. All right. Hey, thanks for screening again this week, John.
It's all right, man.
Half calls, almost 3 calls, right? I think your call inspired Stephen Raichlen to call in on Skype instead of waiting for me to not do it right. I don't know what happened there.
Well,
we were ready.
I did call Stephen Raichlen, and he answered the phone.
Oh, even better. You're welcome, John. Life mission accomplished.
Sell my clothes. I'm going to heaven.
There you go. Thank you, John. John in Michigan, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and make tracks out of here. All the way back in the first hour was Stephen Raichlen, BBQBible.com. The Brisket Chronicles are in review and should be out like May-ish of next year. Then we talked with Brett Gallaway, Steak Cook-Off Association. SteakCookoffs.com. He's here roughly once a month or so. 180 teams. The big event, by the way, going down October 4th through the 7th. I believe those are the dates. Second hour, Saffron Hodgson, the Executive Director, National Barbecue and Grilling Association, also creator of Bush Cooking, bushcooking.com, her website. And closing it out, Carl McBee, chillicoffeebbq.net. New webpage coming in the next week or so. Big show planned for you next week, as always, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American first saying, and secondly saying good night now.
Hi, this is Scott Greenya from Fairfax, Vermont, also known as Scotty BQ, and you're listening to the BBQ Central Show.